So for the programming in Escape from the City, we need to program our robot to start at the top of that triangle and move forward. Now, we're not going to be able to measure this time. We need to tell the robot to move forward for as long as it takes to find that white line. So we're going to have to program our robot not only to move forward, but to work out when it sees the city walls or the edge of the triangle, and then to stop, move back, and turn. Okay? But that's why we're using the color sensor in this challenge. So let's take a look at our programming. So as we've done before, we're going to use one of these move steering blocks. But like I said, we don't know how long, how many seconds or rotations it's going to be. And we're going to use a loop here. So we'll just put it on. We're going to have straight ahead, leave it at that 50. But remember, we've used this before, a loop. So what will happen is when we put this block inside the loop, the robot will travel forward and just keep on traveling forward. So what we actually need the robot to do is look at the white line, and when it sees that white line, stop. So I'm going to introduce this block here. It's a switch, okay? On or yes and no, a bit like a switch. So we're giving the robot a choice, and we're saying if you see the white line, we want you to do this. And if you don't, we want you to do this. So at the beginning here, it's actually got on the touch sensor. So we don't want to use that. Let's click on there. We want to change it to the color sensor, don't we? And we actually want it to compare reflected light intensity. So doing that, it's going to have a look at the light and compare, see how what's being reflected back, that little bounce there. Compare what's being reflected back. Now it's pretty important here to check your port 3 it's got there. Now my color sensor is actually not on 3, it's on 1. I've just checked, so I'm going to change that to 1. Very important. So we're going to program our robot. If it sees the white line, we want you to do this. We want you to stop, turn around. And if you don't, we want you to just keep moving forward. But what we need to do is we need to use that color sensor to test out just what to put in here. So let's go and do that now. So we're actually going to see what light is being reflected back, because lots of things affect it, like the light in the room and the color of the tape you're using, those sorts of things. So you need to check out exactly what it is that you're using, and that's what we're doing now. So what we'll do is use your brick to go to across, and you should see what's called port view. Click on port view. Now we're actually seeing how much the percentage of reflected light that's coming back into the sensor. It's 55. The sensor is having about 55% of the light that it sends out come back into the sensor when it's on that white. So we need to remember that number, 55. And when it's off the white, you'll see it change. Now 9% reflected light, a big difference. And we need to remember those two numbers, 55 and 9. We're going to add them together and then divide the answer by 2. Add them together and divide it by 2. And then we can put that number into our program, into our switch. Okay, let's do it. Okay, that's great. We're nearly there, but it's not going to escape very fast if we just leave it at that. What we actually need to do you see how it was stopping and then going back? And it would come around in the loop and then it would surge forward and then it would stop and go back. So what we need to do is to add something here. We need to add a little turn, I think. So let's get another move steering block. So sure, we want it to stop when it sees the white line. We want it to move backwards, but we also want it to turn. So let's leave it on for rotations for that. And we'll just have it turn a little bit. Let's have it turn a little bit for one rotation. See if that makes a difference, because it should turn it so they can try and find that opening in the city walls to escape from the city. Okay, let's test that out now.